I'm not happy to be here. Bill Keightley, Mr. Wildcat, what could I say that hasn't been said 1,000 times since we learned of this tragic going? Bill Keightley was special. There's no question about that. On our radio show, Denny and I have heard of so many testimonies that have called in. And all of them tell a story about Bill Keightley, about what kind of person he was. One of the stories that came in was about a little boy, about 10 years of age, that stopped Bill Keightley at one of the games and asked him if he would sign his cap. And Keightley looked down at the little lad and he said, "That's a beautiful cap you've got with a beautiful K on it." He said, "Are you sure you want me to put my name on that cap and mess it up?" And the little boy said, "Mr. Keightley, he said, Mr. Wildcat." He said, "Your name wouldn't hurt that hat." He says, "That K stands for Keightley as well as Kentucky." And Bill signed the cap. But he did so many things by touching so many people. And I thought I was his best friend. But over here, and here, and here, and up there are thousands of people that thought the same thing. Because Bill Keightley made you feel important. He got Dwayne Casey after I'd chewed him out at a practice. And Dwayne went to Bill and said, "Gosh, I'm not getting enough playing time." He said, "What should I do?" And Bill says, "You can't hut a bear with a switch." He said, "You better listen to your coach." But at the same time, he'd put his arm around him. He'd console a player that the coach had really gotten on. Dwayne said it was like the good cop, bad cop, and I was the bad cop. He was more than a equipment manager. Bill Keightley was so competent and did his job so well with such ease and perfection that he grew beyond being an equipment manager. He was as much a part of the Kentucky basketball program as anyone that's ever been here. He was a recruiter. He was a friend of everybody that came close to the program. I remember recruits that we would have in on visits that maybe we didn't sign. Maybe they went to Indiana. When we play Indiana, those recruits would come on the floor to warm up and go over and hug Bill Keightley. I didn't like to see that myself, but knowing Bill, I could understand that. I never went to a Cincinnati game and went down to the dugout before the game to watch batting practice that Joe Nuxall, Marty Brenneman did not ask about Bill Keightley. I'm not sure because I didn't see it, but I think Bill Keightley was honored today at the Cincinnati game with a picture up on the screen and a jersey with his name on it. I think Bill Keightley extended beyond the Kentucky program, but everybody knew of him as a disciple for the Wildcats. Bill always called me Jody. I never heard anyone else call me Jody. But I was honored. He didn't know it, but that's what everybody called my grandfather, who was one of the greatest guys I ever knew. Bill called everybody by a nickname. Kenny Walker told me he called him Walkman. Ed Davender, on his trip to Pikeville for a scrimmage, back when we used to travel out in the state for scrimmages, we got there at dark on the bus, and Davender stepped off the bus and saw a big building. He said, "This looks like New York City." Well, you can guess that Davender got the nickname Pikeville. It wasn't the only player that Bill nicknamed. Kenny Walker was called Walkman. Larry Stamper was called Beattyville. And I don't doubt that he had names for everybody that came through the program. Managers, players, other coaches, everybody that he met. He could come up with an endearing name that told a story about his relationship to that person. Recruiting, Bill Keightley was probably the best recruiter that we had at Kentucky. He presented a friendliness, an enthusiasm that showed those recruits what to expect when they came to Kentucky. He threw out enough love that those players knew they'd be well taken care of. And I think every player would attest to how he did. Bill Keightley outgrew his job as equipment manager, and he left a void in this program that's going to be impossible to fill. Coaches come and go. Players come and go. But Bill Keightley left a hole in this program that is impossible to fill. We miss him. We love him to death. We give our love to his family and pray for their peace. And all of you will remember him forever. Thank you.